Hi, my name is Kerry Critchlow from RCR Recording Studios, and today I'm doing another kind of thinking out loud video. Again, these are not scripted, but I wanted to get more into the concept of how to achieve mastery in any given field. Whether it is something like you want to learn an instrument, or you want to become a better engineer, you want to become better at marketing or branding your band, you want to get better at performance, you want to get better at becoming a good friend, or a good husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, anything in life this applies to. And so today I'm going to be talking about, and none of these ideas are mine. Much wiser and smarter people came up with these ideas. I've just been fortunate enough to have gotten my mind wrapped around them a little bit, and I probably don't even fully understand them as well as I should. But I thought I'd share some of the wiser things I've learned from other people, and hopefully it can help you out in whatever it is you're trying to achieve with your life. So today I'm talking about mastery, and it's a concept that goes something like this. If you can imagine that you have 4 quadrants, so a square that's divided into 4 different areas. You go through a kind of a series of events on your way to mastery. And the first event, where everybody starts, no matter who you are, is what you can call unconscious incompetence. And what that means is that you don't know what you don't know. Whenever you get into something new, you don't know anything about it. And this is, generally speaking, where the Kruger-Dunning effect occurs. And if you're not familiar with Kruger-Dunning, I'll give you a brief synopsis, but I highly encourage you to look into their studies. It's fascinating. But what they've discovered is that given a series of tests, both of subjective and more objective things like comedy, grammar, various things, they studied people and wanted to gauge how they would rate themselves, essentially. And so what they found is that the less people knew about any given subject or field, the more they tended to rate themselves above average when it came to their abilities. And what they found also is that the more people knew about their a given field or given whatever, is that they tended to rate themselves less than when compared to other people. So that means that, for instance, let's say I wanted to learn how to throw a good punch. Well, I think to myself, well, I'm a pretty good puncher. I punched my brother all the time growing up. I know what I'm doing. I can put my fingers together, make a fist, and throw my hand out there and punch somebody. There's nothing to it, right? Well, it turns out that's not necessarily true. There's way more that goes into throwing an effective punch, and someone who has mastered the art of being able to throw a good punch knows that there is way more to it than just curling your fingers together and throwing your arm out there, right? And so unconscious incompetence means that you don't know what you don't know, and you actually probably think you know more than you actually do. And so that's just something to be aware of. And as you start to learn a little bit more about whatever it is, like let's stick with punches for now, but the more you learn about how to throw a punch, the more you realize that you don't actually know how to throw a punch. There's much more that actually goes into throwing that punch. There's a way to stand. There's a way to make the fist. There's a way to keep your arm straight. There's a way to cock your shoulder. There's a way to twist your body, and there's a whole plethora of things that go into being able to throw a good punch and make it effective without hurting yourself. And so you start to realize, wow, I don't know what I'm doing. And that's called conscious incompetence. And that's an important step. Now, instead of not knowing what you don't know, now you know that there are things that you don't know. And that's a very important step. That's kind of the journey to mastery that everybody must walk. And so once you get to the point that you realize that you don't know as much as you maybe thought you did, you're headed in the right direction as long as you're willing to be teachable and willing to learn and continue on this journey of mastery. And if you do continue on this journey of mastery, you'll eventually get to the next quadrant, which would be unconscious, or rather consciously competent. And what that means is, as long as you're thinking about it, you can actually throw that punch, meaning you can put yourself in the position, you can think consciously and go through all the motions, make sure you have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed and all that kind of stuff, and you can throw the punch successfully as long as you're thinking about it. And this is another important step. It means that you are now, you have the knowledge in order to do the thing you want to do, and you're willing to put the conscious effort into doing it and doing it properly. And you're able to correct when you make a mistake. You're able to say, oh, that was wrong. I need to think about it and correct and do this. Sorry, you can't even see what I'm doing here. But you're able to now correct yourself, and you're able to start fine-tuning your punches and make them even more effective. And then, as you keep going through these stages of mastery, these quadrants of mastery, the final quadrant is unconscious competence. And that means now you can throw a punch without thinking about it. Not only is it going to be effective, but it's going to be effective. You don't have to think about it. You can just kind of snap, like how to put it, like fight or flight. You know how to punch. You don't have to think about it. It's just going to happen. It's natural. You could get into ostensibly get into a punching fight with somebody and not get hurt yourself or hurt them or whatever. Like, you know what you're doing, but you don't have to think about it. You can spend your mental resources thinking about other things than just throwing the punch because you've mastered that punch. It kind of reminds me of a Bruce Lee quote that said, I think it was Bruce Lee. I could be wrong about that, but I think it was something like, "Do not fear the man who knows 10,000 punches, but fear the man who has done one punch 10,000 times, because that person is unconsciously mastered a punch. They can throw a punch without having to think about it." If you want to take this to something more relevant to music, we can say learning a new instrument, for instance. When it comes to, say, guitar, when you're first getting started on guitar, you might look at rock stars and think, oh, well, they make it look easy, so it must be easy. And so you think, well, I could do that. And you pick up the guitar and you don't know what you don't know. And you look at these strings and all of a sudden you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, maybe there's more to it than that than I initially thought. Because there's some things you have to learn in order to get to be able to play guitar. And I have a guitar here, for example. And so, you might not see my fingers, but when you're first getting, this is a lot. There's a lot of these little line thingies here, and there's these strings, and if you just play the guitar or put your that's not exactly pleasant sounding, right? And so if you just randomly put your fingers here, you may not be getting the sound that you desire to get. So that's your unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know. Once you get to conscious incompetence, you start thinking, oh, well, maybe there's a few things I don't know that I could learn. And you start to think, oh, well, maybe if I looked up a tutorial or followed someone's instructions or blah, 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 you can learn something. And maybe you start to learn that, oh, well, if I put my fingers here, or here, or here, you can make some, pleasant sounds on the guitar. And after a while, I think I went through this before, but what I would start off doing is I would put my fingers and have to move them, because it's very uncomfortable when you're first getting started learning guitar to be able to place your fingers in the proper place. And so I would literally have to take my fingers, move them to the strings, make sure I'm not doing like duffing strings or whatever, and it was a very arduous process. But after a while, I got to the point where, as long as I was thinking about it, I could actually move my fingers to the proper spaces, as long as I was thinking about it. And then after much longer, lots of time, lots of hard work, lots of being uncomfortable and being bad at guitar, I finally got to the point where now I don't even have to think about it. My fingers just go to where they're supposed to go. Someone says D chord, I'm not thinking about it. Like, I might think, well, where's the best place to play the D chord, but I'm not thinking, how do I finger a D chord? I'm just thinking D chord. Right? Someone says G chord. Like, it's unconscious. I don't have to think about it. My fingers know what they're doing. I've done it so many times that my fingers just go to where they're supposed to go, and I'm not really putting any thought or effort into it. And that frees up my, my brain capacity to think of, to be able to focus on other things. So instead of thinking about how to play a G chord, I might be thinking, well, what are the chords in this song? What's the order I should be playing them in? And then I can, and I'm focusing more on, less on what my fingers are doing and more on how to play the song in the right context or whatever. I don't know if I'm saying this exactly right, but it's being able to free up my mental capacity to focus on other things. If I wanted to play a song that I don't know very well, I can write out the chords on a piece of paper, and then I can look at those chords, and I'm not thinking about how to play the chords. I'm just thinking, oh, these are the chords I need to play, and my fingers just play them. I hope this is making sense. Anyways, those are the 4 quadrants of mastery. You go from unconscious incompetence to consciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know, to you finally realize you don't. There are things that you don't know that you probably should know. Then you get to conscious competence, which means that as long as you're thinking about it, you can actually do the things that you need to do, and you can make the corrections when they need to be made. And unconscious competence means that you aren't even thinking about it. You're just doing it, and you're freeing up your capacity, your mind capacity for other things. And that's kind of all it takes. For I say that it sounds way easier than it actually is. It's simple, I guess you could say, but it's not easy. It takes time, it takes effort, and it takes being willing to be bad, as I said in the previous video. In order to get good, you have to be willing to be bad. For instance, as a personal example, I know that these videos I'm making are not great. That's because I haven't made that many. I'm very new to this. I'm still in the learning process. I'm probably not picking great topics. I'm probably not presenting myself well. I say and a lot. These aren't scripted. I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head. And so my presentations probably are not all that great. But I'm willing to be bad at this and, learn to get better. And hopefully over the long run that they will get better. That's the hope anyways, right? And as long as I'm willing to learn from my past mistakes, try and focus on doing things better, and figure out, how to correct the mistakes I'm making, eventually I will have better videos, or at least that's, the goal. And the reason, feedback is another important aspect of all of this, meaning if you don't know the mistakes you're making, it's hard to correct them. Well, I can tell that I'm not making the best videos in the world because it's revealed in my viewer count. I don't have very many views. I think most of these videos are getting maybe 10 to 20 views, which, frankly is not a lot. But the hope, I guess, is that the better I get at doing these videos, the better I get at maybe marketing or branding or sharing or spreading the word or whatever. When these videos reach a certain amount of quality, that people will discover these and think, oh, well, these are good videos, maybe I should watch it, and the viewer count will potentially go up. But I have to be willing to be bad at making these videos first in order to get there. So, anyways, I hope that these examples have proven helpful to you. I hope that you're willing to go on your own journey of mastery to master whatever it is that you're looking to master. That's for you to decide. We all kind of have to live our own lives as best we can. And I wish you the best of luck. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope this is helpful. And I'll see you later. Bye.